What's up, you beautiful rock star, you gorgeous thing, you? Welcome. My name is Jim Chandler with Rock Your Best Vocals. If you haven't already joined the Chan Band, you may be missing out on some serious truth kebabs. So hit the like and subscribe and notification. Turn on notifications, turn it on. It's all for free. And why? Because I love you with a big old heart. And I mean that. I'm not just saying that. I mean I love you because I love everybody unconditionally, which means I don't love you any more than I love your neighbor or your dog or the guy who scratched your car or scratched my car. Disclaimer, put this on 2-speed at least. Maybe 2-speed, I don't know. I listen to these at 2-speed and you know why? Because I am what's known as a kinesthetic speaker, which sounds like I'm always pausing between things. Not because I can't figure out what to say, but just because I like to think about what I say. For many reasons. I'm going to share these all if you stick around. Put it on 2-speed, sit back and relax, grab yourself a nice cup of whatever, and enjoy. Okay, so just to get more on that. Okay, so there's 3 types of people in the world. Most of the people in the world are visual, which means they speak fast, talk fast, they listen fast, kind of like if you ever listen to Russell Brand, he talks fast, nonstop, big long sentences, blah, blah, blah. Then there's auditory, which is a little bit slower, and that's probably, I don't know, I think 70% of the people are visual, and then there's maybe 20 some or something like that are auditory, and then there's a very small percentage, 5% or something like that are like kinesthetic, which is touchy-feely, and that's the way they speak and things as well. I don't want to get into too much of that, but that's just a little bit of, I don't know, it's a sidetracky thing. But what I want to do today is talk about fear. And not only just your fear, but I'm going to kind of do this from a perspective of allowing what's going to come through me. And I'm going to talk about fear, not only just for you, but for me. Because this has come up recently for me, so maybe I can help you with my experiences with fear and this channel and perfection, and because a lot of fear comes from the perfection or wanting to be perfect, not wanting to make a mistake, not wanting to be for me, lose subscribers or somebody I'm not really as afraid of these as I actually think in my mind, because these are kind of irrational fears. The fear that somebody's gonna call you out because you're this imposter syndrome, which you've probably heard about. But it's also fear of sharing your ideas. For me, fear of doing a cover or something like that, because I'm gonna make mistakes. I'm not a perfect singer by any means. I never have been. I've worked at it all my life to try and be as good as I can, but I'm not a perfect singer whatsoever. I will make mistakes all over the place.
Feeling like a hand rusty shame for all I've been done to you.
It doesn't matter to me. I was never really one to go down that road in terms of trying to be or expecting perfection out of myself. I think I always I always really took myself not that serious in terms of being a singer, because I knew that I was never going to be a perfect singer. I was never going to be as good as whatever. And that's okay. I still strive to be as good as I can. But one of the things that has come up for me is the more I've learned about singing, the more I feel like I don't know. And then there's that fear of like, I'm learning from like a lot of other YouTubers that are like also vocal coaches. I'm learning things. And I'm also learning more about my own humility from that, which is good. You know, it's cracking open that bit of an ego thing. So I'm really kind of putting all this, I'm kind of being to use an Italian singing term that comes from the also the school of the bel canto school, which is vulnerable, which means to wear your balls on the outside of your trousers. I think that's that's the direct translation. Vulnerable is wearing your junk on the outside. I'm making this up, but like hopefully you can get a laugh about it. Because I certainly did when I came up with it. As I was walking around, I was like, what am I going to talk about today? Anyway, let's get down to the ideas that I wanted to share. So perfection is such a misunderstood thing in terms of like people think, well, I'm a perfectionist. Well, that just means that you're afraid to really make mistakes. You're afraid of letting the world know that you are not perfect. And perfection is like I've heard this. Perfection is being described as trying to make the world believe something that you don't even believe yourself. And I thought that was really good because it's like, you know, you're trying to be perfect, but nobody's perfect. That's like with this whole stuff about like, you know, friggin' auto-tune and like, you know, I watch these vocal coach videos where it's like they do these covers or they get a hot chick to do a cover. Now I'm not, it's okay. That's cool. I don't mind. Like it's not my thing. I don't like, I'm not trying to diss that. But what I want people to be aware of is like, especially like beginners, when you see that, those people are just miming. Don't for 1 second think that they're actually sitting there singing that perfect in their makeup and everything like this far away from a microphone. That's like is supposed to be like that's them doing a recording. No, you're not going to be that far away from a microphone when you watch. You can look at studio recordings of people singing, you know, like actual like professional singers, and they're right up against a pop screen and the microphone's like right here, right, to get maximum signal to noise ratio. They're not standing back here doing all this bebopping thing and stuff like that. But that makes people think that like, wow, that's really good. That's like perfect. Like they're singing it like without any mistakes. And that's just not the case. But I think it fools people in. That and auto-tune are like the biggest things. Like the biggest, like that, photo filters, all of this crap perpetuates this, you know, sending out of something that's like perfect. Where, you know, you be scrolling through your Instagram or whatever, like, and you just see like perfection, 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 perfection. And then you like walk away from that going, man, I'm shit. And so that's something that like, I suppose, you see, even though I know all that stuff is like, you know, is like auto-tune and all this other stuff, there's still that part of me that goes, man, they're so much better than you. It's comparisonitis, right? Comparing myself to someone else, which is a big pile of BS, because when you comparison yourself to someone else, you compare yourself to someone else, you're either going to feel better or you're going to feel worse. And most of the time it's worse because, like, if there's someone that you're better than, you don't really feel like, you kind of feel like, oh, wow, I could do a little better than that. But you're not doing better than that because you didn't do it. You didn't put it out there. So a lot of people sit there, and people do that. Like on my videos, they comment like, well, I could sing this better than you or whatever, or he doesn't sound like, I mean, it's like, okay, well, fucking do it then. Do a video, dick. I'm like, I don't see any videos of these other people doing it. So if you're gonna think about, well, I can do that better, then go and do it. Do it better. Like, what do you? Because otherwise, you're going with just like anyone. You're just going, well, I'm afraid of doing it. I could do it better than that. You feel better. You feel like completely like vindicated and just sitting there behind your phone or whatever, going, I could do better than that. Well, just do it then. Like, if you can do it better than someone else that's doing it, then do it. Do it. Do it. Shout out to what's that guy's name? Shannon. Shia LaBeouf. Shia in the buff. Excuse me. One of the things I wanted, that's because I'm talking too much, okay? And I've been talking to my dog. Mostly yelling at my dog on the walk when she goes to try and eat cat poop. It's so annoying. I'm like, no, stop trying to eat cat poop, please. Stop it. Anyway, I hope you're listening on 2-speed. If you're not and you didn't tune in at the beginning, 2-speed is the way to go. Rock your 2-speed stupidity. Long, drawn out video, because like I'm not gonna edit this much because I'm just not, because I don't feel like it today. I feel like just like I feel like being vulnerable. You remember that word from the Italian disco of bel canto school of singing. And I want to share something from this book, The Creative Act, A Way of Being. I want to share some things from this. This is Rick Rubin's recent book. I don't know if you know about Rick Rubin. If you don't, look up Rick Rubin and anybody's podcast. And my God, I think I'm like really, I've got like a total man crush on Rick Rubin right now.
Ours line up at certain times for certain things to happen, and they happen. And sometimes you can make something great and it doesn't connect for whatever reason. I found this out from making a lot of stuff. Like sometimes you make two things that you think are the two best things you've ever made, and one of them connects with the world and one of them doesn't. And it might not have anything to do with what's in the art. It might have to do with, it came out the same day as this other thing came out, and that got in the way, or there was a bigger story at the time, or there was some other, who knows, or it's not it's not in the cards for that person to have that success. It's like there's so much to it that we don't understand.
Yeah.
All we can do is make something good and put it out and hope for the best, and that's all there is. We never know why does something work? Even if you make a piece of art, you might, and it works, you may not know why.
Not only is he extremely creative and productive and influential in the whole music world, he is a very spiritual dude. He's a very laid back dude. He's like so chill. Like if you don't know, I don't if you don't know Rick Rubin, then you should go and like listen to one of those podcasts. But anyway, he is promoting this book right now, and I downloaded a sample of it because I'm like, I want to check this out because everyone's talking about it. And it's so much of it like resonated. I've got like so many little highlights in here, and I need to like buy the whole book, but I just wanted to share an idea with you. Okay, so this kind of ties in a little bit to the fear thing. It ties in a little bit to the what I'm all about, because I've spent so much of my life studying success and spiritualism. Now, it doesn't mean religious stuff, because I'm not into the dogma, all that stuff. I think religion ruins spiritualism. I mean, and if you're religious, you're just going to have to forgive my interpretation of that, and my personal view. Or, like, just click off. I don't care. Do whatever you want. But I've really gotten into all of that, and it's a weird long road that I've gotten into. But the more I study into this, the more this even resonates with me, that there's a higher power that, as an artist, and Rick writes this book from an artist's point of view, is that the part of that ties into the fear is getting out of your own way. Now, fear stops most people from doing something. Why? Because you're afraid of what people are going to say. You're afraid of change. That's a big thing that's deep in our brains, that your mind will resist change at whatever cost. That's why it's so hard to stop smoking or pick up a new habit or something like that, because your brain goes, no, hang on a second, this is different. I don't know what's going to happen with this. Therefore, I'm scared of it, so stop doing it. Anytime you've ever tried to change something in your life, think about that from your own perspective. I know for me, when I try to change something, there's this bit of like, oh my God, it's like, whoa, this is really hard to change, because there's that part of you that's afraid of change, and that's deep within your mind. It's not rational or anything like that. You want to change something, and you can't seem to bring that change to light, because that part of your brain, it's afraid of change. It doesn't want the change because it doesn't know what's going to happen. If I do this thing that you're trying to make me do, then our whole world could fall apart. It's kind of like the fear of the unknown. And this goes back to, like, say when we were like, cave men and women, and other whatever else you identify with. So you're there in the cave, and oh my God, like there's whatever happened. Maybe there's a fire and it just burns down all the stuff that you were like hunting and gathering. So it burns everything down. You're like, we got to move because there's no, like, we can't stay here. But that part of your brain doesn't know what is going to happen if you move somewhere else. Is that going to happen there too? Or what's going to happen there? Or there could be like tigers, or you could fall off the edge of the flat earth, or, who knows? We don't know. So that's why we're afraid of it. I don't know what's going to happen. But that's part of what Rick's like secret sauce is. Like, he just shows up to the recording. He's like, I don't know what's going to happen. And I'm into it. I'm just going to just try whatever. And I was listening to an interview with Dave Grohl, and he spoke about kind of the same thing. He's like, he likes doing things that he doesn't know what's going to happen out of it. He just knows he's going to figure it out, which is cool. Like, but most people like can't do that. He loves doing things where he has no idea what's going to happen. He has no idea how to do it or what's going to happen. And that was really inspiring to me, because for myself, I find it difficult to do something often. I often find it difficult to do something where I don't know, like, kind of what the outcome is. And you can never, like, really predict any outcome of anything. Like, so what makes you think that is any different, Jim? I don't know. I don't know. The more I learn, the more I don't know. Which is a beautiful thing, because I will eventually know absolutely nothing. The more I go on. And that's the best part. I think that's the goal, is to know zero, which I'm pretty close to that. I feel like I pretty much don't know anything about anything anymore. But anyway, I want to read this part of it. This is very inspiration to me. Very inspiration. This part is very inspiration. So he says, or he writes, rather, if you have an idea you're excited about and you don't bring it to life, it's not uncommon for that idea to find its voice through another maker. This isn't because the other artist stole your idea, but because the idea's time has come. So, getting back to the thing about earlier, if you go, look, hey, I could have done that, or like I was thinking of doing that, or I could do that better, then go and do it. Because that's that divinity calling through you to say, you can do it better. Or you can do it in your own way. Whether it's not better or worse, but if you feel like called to do it because part of you thinks, I can do it better. There's a part of you that's saying, I want to do this. And that's the part to listen to. That's the heart part. That's the divinity part. The ego part is saying, I can do it better. Ditch that to the side for the moment. But if you're feeling called to do something, do it. Like, that's part of the reason why I'm just like, when I do these, a lot of times, sometimes I don't really have much of an idea to go off with it, but I just start talking, and then something comes out. Just let that divinity kind of flow through, and whatever comes out is what comes out. And, I feel like it's this message of whatever I'm saying is what is supposed to come out, and that's whatever you're supposed to hear. And I don't know, most people, 99% of people haven't even listened this far, even on 2-speed. Like, so I don't blame you if you feel like, oh my God, I must be the only one listening. You probably are, but I'm probably gonna listen to these. Actually, I always like play them back, because at least then I get one view. And then, certainly 20 more people might watch it, but who cares? Doesn't matter. Nobody cares about you. I mean, nobody cares about what you do. So, because everyone else is already caught up doing their own stuff. They're too busy thinking about themselves to worry about what you're doing. That's something that I heard from another talk. It was this really cool TED talk. And this girl told a story about, or this woman told a story about when she was a girl. And they all of the kids, and I think there was like 4 or 5 kids, and they all used to do, they all used to do now that's the demon thing, is doing a cough. Now I've had a cold recently, and I'm like, don't cough, don't cough, don't cough. But the talking, it can be really bad for that. I don't have anything. I should have a water here or something. But rookie error. Beginner mistake. Rookie error. Should have a water always beside you. I'll tell you what I'm going to do instead. This is my next best thing. If you don't have water, a singer always needs to be hydrating their vocals in some way. And if you don't have water on stage or something like that, this chewing gum. I like the extra peppermint. I'm not sponsored, but I should be. Oh yeah, see? Hydrates the vocals. Also, peppermint is a kind of a... It's very good for the breathing. Bronchial dilator, I think, as well. Which is what that means. Anyway, I digress. So he goes on to say, in this great unfolding, ideas and thoughts, themes and songs, and other works of art exist in the ether. Right? This is the divinity. This is spirit. This is ether. This is source, which is all around you, which is what is creating it. That is what everything comes from, is source, the ether. Nikola Tesla talks about this. Mark Twain talked about this. He said, I didn't write any of the books. They just came to me. He didn't write anything, he claims. It just came to him. And so many intelligent, influential people say that it would be wise not to ignore that. So when you get that divine inspiration that's coming from the ether, it's a gift from the gods. Go after it. And just do it. Just allow it to come through you. Without the fear of anything like this, right? I'm just doing this really long form where people are going, too long, click off, boring, stream, blah. Who cares? Go do your own thing. I don't care. You're too busy to, you're like, yeah, you got shit to do. You got a life. Don't listen to this. It's me spouting off for my own sake, right? Just me listening to myself talk. It's therapeutic for me, okay? As an artist, it's our job to draw down this information. Oh, sorry, I didn't finish the other bit. In this great unfolding, ideas and thoughts, themes and songs, and other works of art exist in the ether and ripen on schedule, ready to find expression in the physical world. That's where you and I live, in this physical world. Physical of things. Things, man. Things. As artists, it is our job to draw down this information, like Jim said earlier. Transmute it, that means form it into something, right? Transmute means form into, take something and turn it into something else. Take that idea, that vision, that thought, that whatever, and transmute it, turn it into whatever it is. Is it a song? Is it a dance? Is it a writing, a poem? Whatever it is, do it. And then share it. Because once, nothing is, and that's why I'm sharing this, is because nothing is meant to just really come down to you and just sit there in your mind. And so many things, trust me, I've so many things to share still that I'm like, oh, and I'm kind of going do people really want to? I'm questioning myself. I'm getting in my own way too much. I'm trying to start getting out of my own way. And that's part of my growth with this channel, right? Is to kind of share more stuff, get out of my own way. And, when I get the idea of okay, well, I'm going to do something on mixed voice or, mixed voice or something on head voice, how to get into and just share what because I watch all these things. I'm a lot of people want to know about this stuff, but I'm there's tons of videos out there, but that I haven't done really much on those kind of things because I'll just get into that later. When I do them, you'll understand why. But yeah, that's all for the future. Or is it? Is it for the now? Nothing really exists in the future. That's another thing I will leave you with. The past and the future don't exist. There is only right now, right? And if you are not living in the right now, whatever you're doing right now, that's all that exists. So think about yesterday. It's gone. Doesn't exist. It's gone. Think about tomorrow. What do you have to do tomorrow? It hasn't come yet. It may not even come. So if you're living in either one of those realms, you're not living. Because the only thing that's happening is right now. Right now is where life is. So, shut off YouTube. Sit there by yourself, quiet contemplation, and develop the now. What's coming through you right now? And share it, okay?